Okay, hi everyone. I like to actually spend some time teaching a exercise called Copenhagen Planks, and it's actually great to stabilize your hips. It's great work to strengthen your inner thighs. So the inner thighs are a very special area, and if you're struggling, let's say when you are stepping forwards, you're into a high lunge and you're wobbling all over the place, sometimes your inner thigh muscles just doesn't engage to stabilize you in the position. And then the second thing is the inner thighs actually is connected to the TVA or the transverse abdominis. So it does offer pelvis and core stability. And if the inner thighs cannot squeeze in, it's like the core here doesn't stabilize and it's a little bit wonky sometimes. So having strong inner thighs that's able to squeeze in is definitely a bonus. Okay. The third thing about inner thighs is typically in the yoga practice, we have a lot of stretches. So you think about your triangle pose, your uh, standing wide-legged forward fold. It all involves lengthening the adductors and strength and actually stretching it much more than actually working to strengthen it. So to balance it back, because we tend to overdo one thing, we get real stretchy, real long, we need to actually build up a little bit of strength so that our hips work to stabilize ourselves as we do walk and do our normal daily activities as well. Besides that, if you have very unstable hips, right, it creates a lot of like trouble in the knee, trouble in the lower back as well. So let me just set up the Copenhagen plank for you. I'm gonna do a very simple version. You're gonna need a chair, and sometimes a chair might be a little bit too hard. Just get something like a towel or something like that to pat the chair and keep it soft. So it is a side plank looking position, which means that when you lie down on the side, you're just gonna make sure. Just imagine this is the floor. I'm lying down on this side that's facing the camera. You're going to make sure you're not arching your back, neither are you like tucking your pelvis under this way. So when I come down on the side, I'm resting my forearms down, and I like to actually use this edge of the mat as a reference, but my chair is a little bit placed. There's not much space right here, so I'm gonna move a little bit forwards. But if you have the space, right, just use the edge of the chair. So roughly like your elbow, shoulders, your hips will be in that one line. So the hip is not going backwards too much or forwards too much in the tuck. Now I'm going to scoot a little bit closer to the chair. I'm going to rest the tops of my thighs, like right here, onto the chair. So find something appropriate. This is my dining chair. It's a little bit high, but it's still okay. Right? So as you pat it, it'll be a little bit all right. Just make sure that all this is in one line, that you're not bringing yourself too far forward or too far back. Now, the action is, although it's a side plank, it involves some pushing with the forearms, but you really want to feel this part of your legs, right? The inner thighs or the adductors. Work that hard to press into the chair. So the easy version is I press the top leg into the chair and I keep the bottom leg down, assisted, and I'm going to lift the hips up. So if you feel a lot of work in the shoulders, right, you're actually shying away from the inner thighs, just make sure you're pressing down well, and as you touch the adductors, it's firm. All right? And you can hold it for 5 counts and then come back down. So let's just say that is easy. You can hold 5 counts, not a problem at all. And you do feel some inner thighs and you want to ramp it up a little bit more. So again, we're going to push the elbows down, press down onto the top leg, lift the hips up, and you can consider lifting the bottom leg off the floor. So as you're doing that, work this inner thigh strongly and make sure your hip doesn't dip, right? So you're pressing up, squeezing in towards the thighs towards each other, and you can stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I release. So do a couple of it, like up to 8 of it, and that's the easier version. Now, let's say if you're up for a challenge, it will be the straight leg version. And okay, this is actually the most challenging. So I'm gonna scoot a little bit further away from the chair. I'm gonna place this part of my foot, right, on the chair, and it's pressing downwards. So, right, you can flex or you can point your foot, but just make sure that you really feel that this part is already engaged. So, assisted first with the leg on the floor. So, straighten this leg and feel pressing downwards into the floor, and I'm going to press down the leg to lift the hips up. So, make sure it's not like I'm pushing onto my forearms to lift up, but I'm actually working this leg a lot. So, push the leg down to lift up. Okay, I'll keep this leg down on the floor, and you just hold it here. This is a long position, so your legs are like really straight out, and you feel the strength right here, and just hold 5 seconds, and then come back down. Okay, now if you want even more, the straight leg position. But please, before you do it, just assess. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel your knees? So if your knees are feeling a little bit scrappy and painful, it's just that currently your adductors are not strong enough to take the load. So practice it with one leg, the bottom leg on the floor first. All right. Now, this is the last version. So you should feel comfortable doing it and there's no pain. Make sure your hips doesn't sit back or you're arching your back forwards. So another thing is sometimes we roll the thighs away, the hips away from the bottom. So make sure it stacks. Push down to lift up, and if you're comfortable, yeah, coming up. So hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly release it down. Okay, so some variations. Don't worry, even the simple bend variation is actually sufficient enough stimulus for you to strengthen your adductors. Do it gradually, get stronger over time. Thank you.